Good day to you and welcome, I'm Beckerization, and today I'm gonna show you whether Stellaris is any good. Well, what's Stellaris? It's a new grand strategy by Paradox Interactive, which is the developer of Europa Universalis, Hearts of Iron, Crusader Kings and Victoria. You probably know these if you are into grand strategies, and I have to right away say that this is not a Paradox grand strategy as you know it. This is more of a 4X strategy with mixture of Paradox grand strategy into it. It lacks some of the features which I have found in almost every single Paradox game, but it introduces new ones, and I'm gonna say that it's probably influence of Sid Meier's Beyond Earth and Endless Space. And you can really compare Endless Space to this game, more than you can compare this game to, for example, Europa Universalis or Crusader Kings. And a little disclaimer right away, I have played only, let's say, few hours of this game. I have a basic understanding, but to truly understand this game, or any Paradox grand strategy, you need to play a few hundred hours. So proper review of some people who really understand things will come out in about 1 or 2 months. However, right away, this is better. I'm gonna say that this is better than nothing. So let's get into the evaluation itself. This game has a nice and clean UI. I actually like it. If you are familiar with the previous grand strategies of Paradox, you will not get lost right away, because you have your resources, you have your power, which is in here as a research points, and you have some of your tabs, such as government, such as research, and you have a few extra things. In terms of UI, you have, for example, new creation of ships, which is not a new feature in space strategies, but it's nice to have it. And as you research more stuff, you actually get much more advanced ships and much more better stuff, and also more interesting stuff, such as lightning cutters. You have your research and management, as I said already. So the research points are instead of power, and you can get those from the surface of planets, you can get those via some other little means, and you have the research itself, which is influenced by the scientist and by the funding. By funding, you can fund influence points into some policies which improve the research rate of things. There are 3 types of researches. There is physics, society and engineering, and if you choose one, you get extra 30% for that one. If you choose 2, you get extra 20% to each, and also you get 20% less to one of the others. And if you choose all 3, you have 30% extra. So you have to partially choose whether you want to have 10% everywhere, or if you want to focus on 2 or just 1 to get the maximum. However, these things were great. Like, in terms of micromanagement of planet, it's rather good. You have those little tiles where you can actually change things, improve things, upgrade stuff, choose which population you want to go there. You can change in policies if you can purge them, if you can resettle them, and well, just purging a population is somewhat disturbing and somewhat fun in the same time. But you can sometimes use robotics or robots if you have the research, and they have some bonuses, for example, while gathering minerals. Now, the bad thing is diplomacy. Diplomacy is like a much younger brother to Europa Universalis, or Civilization. There are these. It's more like Civilization actually. I'm gonna compare it to Europa or CK, where the diplomacy is heavily focused on, and at the latest Europa Universalis 4 DLC, they have completely reworked it, and there are new things, and it's so much better than it used to be. But in here, it's a civilization. That's it, nothing more. So diplomacy is actually really basic, and you can more or less declare war and ask them for resources, forge alliance, and that's it. No spy system, no spying, no extra supporting revolts, no such thing. At least I haven't found those yet. As I said, you can declare wars, obviously. The basic map has, or the normal map in terms of area, has 600 planets. On the 600 planets you will by default have 17 so let's call it 17 races, and or no, not races, they are not races. You will have 17 states or empires, and out of these 4 will be slightly more advanced. So you can war a lot if you want to. If you want to get aggressive, you can. The war itself is really just crunching numbers once again. However, you can influence it a bit before, as you have 3 types of weapons. You have long range, mid range, and short range. But it's still just crunching numbers. But that's a grand strategy, isn't it? I don't know what I was looking for in there, but I was looking for some kind of, let's say, spin. Something new in the formula. And it's just not there. This is just a worse combat than endless space. As always, this grand strategy has a learning curve which is insanely steep. You can learn the basics very quickly, as the tutorial is for once voiced and truly in game, not outside of game, but it's also rather insufficient. Compared once again to Europa Universalis, which is the main game of Paradox right now, or at least was, where you have, is it 27 tutorials? Yes, 9 tutorials, 3 at 3 screens, so that's it. Here you have a small little tutorial which is voiced, yes, but it's still not giving you a lot of info and you're not training it enough. So you have to explore a lot, and even after, let's say 5-6 hours, I haven't been able to find a screen which I found like an hour in the game. I found a screen, or I got into a screen, but I wasn't able to get to it in the last 5 hours for some reason. I just don't know where it is. And I got into it in some, just randomly clicking on a portrait somewhere, and I wasn't able to reproduce none of the screens. So the tutorial doesn't really give you a lot. Now in terms of aesthetics, it has a nice music, but the music gets extremely quickly repetitive. It's really annoying after a few hours. So this is also worse thing than in Europa or CK, which had great music. I was able to listen to it all day long. And in terms of art style and performance, I actually like the art style. It's nice and clean, it's simple, and it doesn't require a lot of power. Crusader Kings and Europa Universalis both had quite large or quite demanding engine, or at least assets. And this game actually, there's a lot of free space. There's just space, it's empty. So you don't have to, render a lot of stuff. There are just planets, there are some ships, and the performance, this is the first Paradox game where I had constantly 60 FPS, and it was a 3D game, not a Hearts of Iron. So at least in this case, it's really good. Stellaris has some nice little features. It's an interesting shift between 4X and Paradox's grand strategy, but it falls short in some cases. It has a nice UI, but it has a really bad diplomacy. It has a nice research, but sometimes the micromanagement gets too annoying and it's really shallow. The learning curve is once again steep, but the tutorials aren't really there. There is the basic tutorial, but you have to find a lot of stuff for yourself, so be prepared for that. In terms of music, it's good at the beginning, but it's annoying later on. However, the art style itself is really nice. I like the clean UI, I like the design of ships, I like the design of races. And the performance is really great. This is the first game of Paradox which runs extremely well even on mid-range machines, as my 940M and 6200U processor managed to get 60 FPS constantly, even at war, everywhere. Really nice, really nice. However, the price tag is currently $40 in euros, and I don't see the value behind the price tag. I haven't played the multiplayer yet, but the multiplayer will be most likely extremely long, as it is much slower than their other games. So my current verdict is gonna be that it's a good game, but it has really big things to improve. And hopefully, as Paradox does it usually, in the upcoming DLCs it will get much better. So even though it's good, and if you can't really wait, go for it, you might be happy, but I would recommend waiting for at least one DLC. The current price on Steam is 39.99 euros or dollars, or your original equivalent, for the standard game. Then you have the Nova edition, which is for $49.99, meaning 10 extra bucks, where you get an extra exclusive alien race, Nova forum icon, and original soundtrack, which might be worth it. However, there is also a Galaxy edition for $69.99, and there is just a bunch of cosmetics, signed wallpapers, digital collector's book, Stellaris novel, which might be interesting, and unique forum avatar. This is not really worth it, however I think that Stellaris Nova edition might be worth it because of the exclusive race. Yet, I am not sure of if one race is cost 10 euros, is worth of 10 euros. So 39.99 for standard version, and for this price, I think wait for at least 25% discount. So hello once again, I'm gonna start here right at the beginning. I found that funny thing that when you say that you don't want tutorial, the guide's gonna tell you be reasonable, which is a lonely thing. And so this is it. You have your government. This is more or less Europa Universalis or CK, or if you're used to any Paradox. So this is the basic UI that you see. If you press F1, you're in the government, and here you have just government, budget, some policies which you can enact if you have enough influence. Influence you gain by planetary capitals and declaring rivals. This is like the most rare of the resources, but if you want to speed up your research, I highly recommend Encourage of Thought, Engineering Research Grants, or one of those, depending on what you want to focus on. The next one is demographics. Here you can see, you know, ethnic divergence. This is the bonus which I don't have for some reason. Or happiness, overall stuff inside of general population. Very often you'll start with somewhat homogeneous population, but as you continue and as you devour more and more empires, you will get more diverse population. The second one is planets. You can see the modules inside the planets, your population, governor. Actually, you start with the governor on your home planet, but as you colonize other planets, you will have to get new governors. Those governors cost 50 influence, and just maintaining all scientists, which also require maintenance, all governors, and let's say 1 or 2 generals, requires a lot of influence, just because as they die, and they usually die at the same time, you need to spend about 100 influence at the same time, and it's just like 100 or 200 months to actually get it sometimes, if you want to build something else. There is the ship design, a nice neat little thing. Here is the science ship. You see that it has no weapons, construction ship, no weapons, and here is corvette, which is a basic one. There is the small laser, and you have these small reactors. In here you have radar, thruster, alright, computers, default. You can research those later on, and this. The FTL drive is really useful later on for much faster movement, but if you can start a new design, you have to first research bigger ships such as destroyers, such as frigates, these things. And here, let's show you how the design works. I have a Corvette. Here are the basic cores, utility slots 5, weapon slot, and we have these. So this is a very light ship, which is created to deal with more or less pirates, and also some small outposts. So for example, if you want to go, your main force somewhere and guerrilla war around, these shifter cores or striker cores are the best. However, there is this interceptor, which is the main powerhouse here, and here you have all the components. You will research more and more of those, and here you have these little reactors. Into this components list, you can also include shields, armors, different stuff which isn't considered weapons. Now, the next one is situation log, where you have these situations. Those are more or less mini quests, something like in Europa Universalis when you decide to conquer something, or what's that? God damn it, I have spent hundreds of hours on Europa Universalis and I can't recall those quests. Yeah, accumulate money, gain prestige, and these things. And here you have the victory types. So domination, owning 40% of colonizable planets, and conquest, subjugate all the other empires. There are still 17 other empires. I like that it tells you this, even though you haven't really met them. And here you have your research. So all these scientists here have just one skill, which means that their research speed is just 2% extra. However, they can really get up to 4 or 5 stars. If you click on them, you can get the research, which is, for example, in here, I would probably like, which one? Physics lab. Yeah, so I can get more physics research from the planet. In here, in society, which is, you have these 3 little, this is like power in Europa Universalis. Here it's just research. You have New Worlds Protocol. It could be useful, actually. It could be very useful right away. I'm gonna go for that one, because it gives you colony ship. Even though it costs 350, it might be worthwhile. Now, the last one, improved spaceport is nice, but I'm gonna go for Betharian power plant. Yeah, Betharian power plant it is. Just partially randomly chosen at the beginning. So here you have it. Here's the military power, our defense fleet. If I tell it to move, you can see, where is it? Is it so far? Yeah, we're almost there. Yeah, here it is. So here you have these 2 little ships. If you are part of a fight, you can actually see them fighting, shooting. In terms of weapons, there are like 3 kinds of weapons: long range, mid range, and short range. And you can see them firing different ones right away. If you use some ships with long range and some ships with short range or mid range, you can actually get a really good head start. Now, here's the spaceport, which is near our planet. It's not movable, but it has some defense power. There is construction ship, which we can use to build mining stations, research stations, observation posts around inhabited planets, and some extra stuff, which is slightly more advanced. It's like, it's not really advanced in terms of what it requires from the player, but what it requires from the game, because it requires a lot of some of them require influence, which is rare. Now this is a science ship. It can do two things, or three things actually. It can do, or an assist research. It can do survey, which is that you survey a system or a planet. It can do research anomalies, so if you by surveying encounter an anomaly, you can actually research it right away if you have good enough scientists. Later on, it sometimes requires 3-star scientists, so you have to use your senior ones, and the new ones have to go into research. And you have also research special projects, which are these situations logs usually, and there's like what seems a quest, a main quest, but it's not really that well done, and it's like a minor thing compared to all the others. So let's survey the system, and I haven't shown you the two other things. This is just one of the systems. I have access to 3 systems, as you can see, and you can go around this way, or you can go into galaxy map. This is my space. If I'll click on the planet, I will get there, and this is the galaxy. There is 600 systems in this one, and it's called medium. So this game could take actually one single game to win could take maybe 40 hours if you are not really that aggressive. But this one looks promising, and this one looks promising. These two, burrito, surveyed. This could be actually fun. This is a good system, because if you place defenses in here, and in here, you have the choke points, which is nice. You can also place it in here and in here to have like a larger system, and those are the choke points. Cool. So let's continue with the survey. Also, there is this standard. You can go extremely slowest, slow, normal speed, fast, and fastest. You will spend most of the time playing the fastest one, as well. It takes a long time to do everything, like the movement of the ship you can see. Now scanning the star. No resources at the star B. I hope that one of the planets... No, none of the planets is habitable. Okay. So, this is it. Where is it? They have 150 right away. God. So we have a hostile fleet in here. I'll have to... Let's click on Arid, my Arid planet, and create a few corvettes. I hate this, but I have to. Where is the research? Yeah, here it is. Let's survey this system. Evading hostile fleet. Where are they? Oh, they are evading me. Right. So let's take a look at the other system, which is in here. Some of your units automatically avoid enemy units, which is usually the case of, or by default case of science ship and engineering ship. Oh, there are these minerals, which is like the money. So let's move it in here. I can't? Why can't I do that? I thought, yeah, I can build mining station right now. So let's build mining station. It will increase my amount of money I have, or I get every single turn. I need some extra power here, so there's just this one. Is the second one actually habitable? So let's take the science ship. No. I want you to build a mining station, and I want this ship to finish surveying my own system. And after I finish the last corvette.
Construction complete.
Yes. So let's merge them together now and assign a leader. There is always going to be this one. This has ship upkeep and evasion. Evasion is better than ship upkeep. So let's use this one. Now I have a really solid... I should have a really solid evasion. Can I... Yeah, you can see this in the fight actually, all those little stats. So let's go and take the second... No, I don't want to rename it. Click on it and go here. And then here, just to see whether we have someone around. I'm gonna get aggressive. Ooh. Can I build a mining station here? Yeah, I should be able to. So let's move it in here. It's gonna... Yeah, I have some resources right away in here. But every single time you build a station, it takes off your energy credits. Meaning power.
System survey complete. Anomaly.
Okay, you can see that right away here is this... You have 0 failure risk, but you can do some research. So I'm gonna do some research on the anomaly and continue. So this is more or less the basic stuff. There is also one thing that I haven't shown you, and this is planetary micromanagement. So you have this governor, you have armies, you have these creations where you can actually build some extra stuff in space modules. But here's the surface. And you have some of them blocked, such as there are slums, industrial wasteland. There's nothing in here, so I should probably build like how much food I have. 4. I really want to build one more food planet, and I'm gonna build it here. And this one can become something else later on. Maybe I should build also one. But we'll see. This is your income in here. I have 4.6 and 4.6 from here for food. I have extra stuff because I am the obsessive collector as the nation or as the race, and it helps a lot. Now, so here I have my slightly advanced, one of my slightly advanced games. Here you can see all the little empires which I have encountered. A neat little thing is that to actually talk with the aliens, you have to research their language, or they have to research yours, so that you can communicate. As you can see, I have tried to go a bit aggressive with higher naval capacity, but the empire which I want to destroy, which is this one, is slightly better in tech, and I have a really hard time dealing with them. But let's show you the context. So these are some of the races which I've encountered. As you can see, some of them hate me. Those are usually the rivals. I think that this is the rival, right? Yeah. There is one rival, there is the second rival. And one of those is also an no, so it has to be this one, right? Where is my rival? Oh, this, wham. Yeah, those are. And I have some embassies. These 3 have my embassies. This is more or less the way of improving your relation with the race. If I look at communicate, You have these declare war, demand vassalization, which is like really not gonna be accepted most of the time, and rivalry, and offer trade deal. These trade deals, for some reason, it actually doesn't show there right now. I probably have to switch into higher resolution. I'm recording in a slightly lower resolution, but I can show you it on my side as it is exactly the same on both sides. So of trade, and like this migration access, those little things. This is more or less just a really basic stuff. And I kind of don't like it. It's like European Universalis just made a huge step in diplomacy where they reworked it a bit, added a lot of new stuff, changed how some things work, and this is just really basic. So like Paradox is really doing not good job by keeping to the other games in the other games of their creation, which okay, European Universalis 4 had a lot of DLCs and things changed slightly, but usually you want to include some of the things in here. And yes, they had include some of the things. For example, if you choose in here in government policies to go for one of those, it's gonna get a buff, but if you choose all three, the buff is much lower. So for example, I could get plus, you can see that it actually decreases by 20%. So if I were only to focus on this one, I would actually get plus 30%. I would actually get plus 20% if I would focus on 2, but I would get 20 on both. But as it stands, I'm getting only 10 on each, which is kind of uneconomical thinking about it. But I really wanted to get in front of the rest. And thinking about it, I'm not gonna do it because it's really bad, and do it like this, so I'll have more influence for more guys. And this is it. This is the showcase of the Stellaris game. I'm not sure whether I like it or not. Actually, it's an interesting game. It's different setting, but it's still really similar to some of the other games, such as Endless Space. And Endless Space does some things much better, such as combat. Combat in Endless Space was great. In here, it's just European Universalis in space, where you can actually see the ships and or the units. And it's actually not that satisfying, because you know that it's still just crunching numbers. In Endless Space, you at least had the option to choose which weapons to use right now. This is all automatic. In terms of diplomacy, there is not enough diplomacy, so probably in 1 or 2 DLCs it will be much better, but as it stands, it's just subpar, and I don't see a reason why they actually decided to price it on 40 euros or dollars. It's a bit too much for a game which is more or less a reskin in some aspects. Okay, these things are new, I understand, but also the UI is really clean. It shouldn't take so long to actually create this, or it didn't need to have such a big resources. So I don't get the price tag, and comparing the current state of the game with other games which are out by products such as Europa, such as Crusader Kings, it's really on the lower side of things. So I really hope that this helped you. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to like it down below. It gets me higher in traffic. Also, share it to your friend. This is the best way for me to get new audience. Well, feel free to take a look on other videos on my channel, and if you like them, then go and right away subscribe to this channel. Well, thanks for watching, and see you next time.